Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to this channel. Today's the topic of our lecture is Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi's poem. In this lecture, I will beguile him with the tongue, in the next lecture, I will discuss the next poem of Rumi, that is A New Rule. So first, I will discuss the Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi biography, and then the poem Critical Analysis. His full name is Jalaluddin Muhammad Rumi. He was 13th century Sufi mystic poet from Persia. He was born in modern day Afghanistan. He also lived for a while in Turkey. His poetry expresses his longing for union with divine. It means that his poetry is he is a Sufi poet. Basically, his poems are for the love of God, and also his teacher Maulana Shams Tabriz. So he wrote the divine poetry. Some English translations of Rumi's poetry are quite literal. Example, A.J. Arbery and modern day translators have often taken more liberty in creating English versions of Rumi's originals. These are the writers who are A.J. Arbery and many other also writers who decided to translate some of the Rumi's work in other languages because the original language of Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi was Persian. Also met great Sufi poets like Master Attar, who used to say about Rumi that there is a river dragging an ocean behind it. This line is for Jalaluddin Rumi. This is the story of the Rumi, how his life was totally changed when he met a person whose name is Darwesh Shamsuddin, and he was a centric and unorthodox person. Uh, Most of the Rumi's poems' main themes are love, longing, and searching for the union with the divine. Also, the union with his beloved, who is Shams Tabrez's teacher. He uses unexpected imagery in the poem, like drunk and intoxicated with ecstasy for his beloved. Most of the poetry of Rumi came from age 37 to 67. He wrote 2000 rubaiyat. He also wrote 3000 love songs for God, Shams, and also the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Now, the critical analysis of the poem. Before starting it, I would like to tell you guys the background of the poem. Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi in this poem wants to tell us that there is nothing that can please his teacher Maulana Shams Tabriz, because he does not crave for the worldly things, and nothing can beguile him, or no one can manipulate him by providing the worldly things. So I am going to read about on the from the notes. Beguiling is about enchanting and tempting others or to charm anyone. In the poem, him can be stand for Shams, and also him can be stand for many other people. Him also can be stand for the God. Reason says, I can beguile him with the tongue. It means that many other people like our leaders beguile us. Then he says, our soul is much powerful than tongue. It can beguile and also it can show us right path. So love says it will beguile him with the soul. Then soul says, do not make jokes of him and yourself by talking like this, because you are aware that you are not going to beguile. Then further in the poem, he talks about Shams Tabriz, and he thinks all those things that can easily beguile him. He says Shams is not in any kind of pain, so he cannot offer him intoxicated things like wine to forget the pain or any problems, because people drinks wine to forget their problems for a while. He also does not need bows or arrows. Also, his gaze is enough to tremble us. He is also not bound to follow the rules of this world. He is also not interested in worldly things like gold, and he won't be impressed by getting gold. Then in the poem he says, Shams has some angelic qualities. Though he is a man, he is also not lustful like other men. When they see women in front of them, they get beguiled. So Shams is not interested in women. He is pure. It is not easy to beguile him. He also does not need any horses or medium to go anywhere. He has his wings knowledge. Wings are the knowledge of Shams Tabriz. so that he can fly by using that wings. He says his food is so simple, so he cannot beguile him by offering delicious and tasty food. He only eat his simple and light food. Rumi says Shams has paused to see anything, so he will not be able to beguile him by looking sick. Here it means that he cannot beguile him by pretending that he is sick, so that Rumi will come to him and ask what happened, or because he already knows what is his condition and how he is spending his life. He knows everything about Rumi. So Shams has power to see his hidden cleverness. Rumi is open book for him. He is also not addicted to poetry or need any fame, so it is not possible to tempt him or to manipulate him with verses and lyrics. He also says, in the absence of Shams, he feel his presence. This also symbolizes God's presence, that God's absence is so powerful that he beguiles us with the promise of paradise. This also symbolizes God's presence, that God's absence is so powerful that he beguiles us with the promise of paradise. So we get ready to surrender before him. God, him also mean God. At the end of the poem, Shams Tabrizi is chosen by God. He is favorite of God because of his qualities. So he says, I will beguile him with the same tactics. He tells the qualities of Shams that he is not a prisoner of the world. He does not need anything that is present in the world. He has everything because he has God. He knows God and he can talk to him. So he does not want anyone or anything. He is not restricted to follow the rules of the world. So how I can beguile him with the materialistic things? To sum up the poem, he says that Rumi does not need any worldly things, like he does not need intoxicated things, he does not need any gold or any bows and arrows, only his gaze is enough. And no one can please him by offering any woman, and because he is not lustful, he does not need wine. He is as well not addicted to poetry or lyrics. So this was all about the poem by Rumi. In the next lecture, I will discuss second poem of the Rumi, that is A New Rule. Hope so this lecture was helpful for you. Thank you so much.